Hello and welcome everybody to Flicker Effect, episode 392. We are recording and broadcasting live on Monday, January 17th, 2022. I'm David Lotz, by the way. Joining me as always is Bobby Jackson. How's it going, Bobby?
Hey, how's it going? Good.
Happy Monday.
Sure.
Sure, it's Monday.
It's Monday. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
happy,
the best day of the week, right?
It's Monday. Yeah.
Monday. Also here is Michelle Hillard. How's it going, Michelle?
Hi, everybody.
Happy Monday
Hello.
to you too. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It's wild card season. Yay.
It is. It's a wild card weekend, but are we watching football right now? No, we're here.
No.
We're here doing a show. Are we going to miss the Moon Knight trailer while we're doing this? We'll watch it afterwards.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I did.
Well,
Oh, well.
As soon as the show's over, we're going to watch it.
Yeah, you should do a reaction to it. Ooh, reaction. You already got the cameras rolling and everything.
This is true. This is true.
All right. Think about it.
Mm.
Anyway, we are back. Last weekend, we did our top 10 show for 2021, our big annual extravaganza. Normally, when we do that show, we cover our top 10. We talk about honorable mentions. We talk about a bunch of other stuff, disappointments, and I don't know, other stuff regarding the past year. And then we look forward to 2022. This year, we're kind of splitting it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. So we're going to cover everything we didn't cover last week. This week, we'll talk about disappointments and anything else we didn't get to cover about 2021. And we're going to look forward to 2022 and all those exciting movies we can't wait to see this year. With that, I don't know where to begin. I guess we should begin with 2021 since we aren't really done wrapping that up. I mean, like I said, we did talk about honorable mentions. Maybe we could just go around the table and kind of cover anything else we all wanted to kind of touch on regarding last year, like any movies that disappointed us or anything else you just didn't get a chance to bring up that you really wanted to kind of summarize for 2021, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if we're
totally
going disappointments, I had a few.
A few.
I mean, and the disappointments are clearly based on just an anticipation level of the project, just because either you had some familiarity with it, maybe it was a IP that you already kind of were aware of that exists, and you're just thinking, okay, now they're going to do this thing, or it's a sequel. So I had a few on the list that I just really felt like just didn't quite land for me the way I wanted to. One of those was Snake Eyes, which is, from a kid of the 80s, and the amount of G.I. Joe cartoon I watched back in the day, it still hasn't come around to where they've done it right. And I don't really know why they have such a hard time with it. It seems like there's a lot of different ways they can take that property, and they've tried a couple different ways, and neither has hit. And Snake Eyes is added to the list of ones where it didn't just work, and for reasons that it would become apparent if you watch the movie, it's just lackluster. And especially when you see a movie like Shang-Chi that has martial arts in it and does it to such a good effect, and you then, if you were to watch Snake Eyes either after or before and see the martial arts that's being displayed, maybe it's not bad, but the way they cut and edit it, and you can't see what's going on, and it's one of those almost Jason Bourne type styles of cutting where they do with martial arts. It robs the people of getting a chance to really see fully fleshed out martial arts scenes. And so that, along with just the storyline and the way they treated Snake Eyes in the movie, just didn't work for me. And it was unfortunate because you had Henry Golding as the character. Yeah. And you would just thought that maybe it would have been a home run just on paper. So yeah, that was one. That was a pretty big disappointment. My other two are a little less so, maybe. Mortal Kombat. I think that and I believe Yasha had this on his list, but for me, I think the issue was that they didn't go far enough with that property, knowing what you've seen in the video games and how bloody and gory it is, and the fact that they had an R rating, and still it felt like it was restrained in some ways with some of the scenes. It just didn't live up to what I thought they could do with the property and still haven't done with it. So that was a big disappointment, but not to the level of where I was just super
Yeah.
bummed out, because I still did like it and enjoy it, but it just could have been more. So
Yeah, that was Yasha's number 9.
it was. See,
Yeah.
yeah. It's he probably would back me up a little bit on the fact that he probably thought
Probably.
they could have done a little bit more with it. But the last one I had is my disappointment was Coming to America, which was like the sequel to Coming to America, and
Yeah.
this one was like a 2. I liked it ish, but it's such a pale comparison to the original movie. I don't know if this one was trying to be made a little bit more family friendly, because it kind of came off that way, whereas the first one is definitely a rated R movie for adults, and this one feel like they kind of pull back on it a little bit. And while there was elements of it I did like, overall, just coming from that first one into the second one, it's a steep decline on it, and it was unfortunate because you had a lot of returning people in this movie, and it just couldn't recapture that magic of the first one. So those are my main ones. There's probably more in there, but those were my big ones that I remember thinking about when I was sort of going through my list.
Gotcha. How about you, Michelle? Disappointing films for you.
It's funny because I think because it's so fresh in my head, I was even thinking about this last week, like what would be my films, and it's hard for me to look back and think about a lot of like disappointing films, because I feel like what happens is I watch a lot of films, and the ones that I don't like, I kind of dismiss and move on and kind of forget about them. But the one that stood out to me last week and still does because I saw it so recently is Meet the Ricardos. Ugh, if I could talk. And it's a disappointment, not in like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see this movie. It was more a disappointment of like, oh my gosh, I love Aaron Sorkin and I look forward to Aaron Sorkin projects. And so I was looking forward to this. I don't think it's a movie that we really needed per se. And I'm not even going to get into the prosthetics that they used on Nicole Kidman. I could even I'm just not even going to jump into that. It was really disappointing because as a fan of Aaron Sorkin writing and storytelling, it really misses the mark a lot. And it's disappointing because for a storyteller to rely so heavy-handedly on flashback scenes, and honestly, like there was a lot of times I felt like, and again, I understand that the time period of when this was set, but the amount of mansplaining that was happening throughout was really frustrating. Like they were trying to showcase Lucy being in a strong light, and there was just constantly times of things that like she would be explained to. And there was one time that she actually called out. She's like, "Yes, thank you for explaining to me my own way of writing comedy." And so for that scene, it worked. But then the rest of the film, it just kind of kept happening over and over and over, but not in a way that Lucy caught it. It was just kind of was what it was. I don't know. It was not Aaron Sorkin's finest writing at all. And I just think it felt very thrown together as a film. And I think for them to basically take 3 pretty major events in the Ricardo's time frame and kind of mush them into a week-long storyline, it felt like he was just reaching too much, and it's not good storytelling. Honestly, it just didn't work out at all for me. I was not happy with it. And again, I won't even get into some of the other stuff, but that's when it comes down to it, it was just a badly told story, and the writing was not there, and it's really frustrating and sad to say that about an Aaron Sorkin project. It's disappointing. It really is probably my biggest disappointment of the year. And I'm sure if I sat here and I thought about other films, I probably could come up with a few more. But yeah, that was probably my biggest one for me. Maybe I'll think of a few more, but yeah, it just sticks out for me. Like I said, that's my one that really just in my face. Like, wow, this is sad. This is something that I don't know. I hear Aaron Sorkin's tied to something, and I immediately am just like, really? Oh, cool. I perk up, and this was just. It was not impressive at all.
I mean, I guess while we're on that subject, I mean, I've made it no mystery that I'm a huge Aaron Sorkin fan. And I mean, normally an Aaron Sorkin film comes out or any new project of his, and I'd be all over it. And for whatever reason, I mean, this is the first I've heard from you about how you felt about that movie. It's not like we've talked about it, but even before hearing this and before you even seeing it, I'm like, I've had an interest in it, but I don't know. There's just something about it that I'm like, I don't know. It's not speaking to me, even though it's Aaron Sorkin. Like, I remember seeing the trailer and going, and it's nothing against Lucille Ball. Like, I'm a fan.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
I'm interested in that history, but there's just nothing about that movie that was speaking to me. And then, you mentioned the prosthetics, and not to get down that road, but like just seeing that in the trailer, I was like, is that necessary? Like, to me, like, just cast an actress. If she doesn't quite look the part, it's fine. Like, she's just playing a part. Like,
right.
Is there a need to like try to make her physically look the role? And to me, if it's necessary, then find an actress that looks more the part. Like, I don't know. And I guess I'm going down a road. I probably could think of other movies where I was totally okay with it. Maybe this one I'm not. I don't know. Just, that movie just didn't interest me.
I mean, I guess I just come from a thought process of an actor or an actress is there to play a part. And obviously it is kind of cool if they look kind of like the person, especially if it's a biopic kind of a thing. They look kind of like the person, but it's not a necessary given. I just don't think the prosthetics were just not necessary. They didn't use them on anybody else that was portraying another actual human being.
Right.
So why did we have to use them on Nicole Kidman? No, I'm a big fan of Lucille Ball and the, Desilu Studios and the history. And I really enjoy that stuff. And old Hollywood, I'm a huge old Hollywood fan. And it's a bummer because, and I guess it's not like it was a film that I was really looking forward to. That was like, oh my gosh, it's about Lucy Ricardo and it's Aaron Sorkin, but it was more like, oh, it's Aaron Sorkin. I love Aaron Sorkin. Oh, Lucy. Oh, cool. This could be interesting. And it just no, it didn't work. What about you?
What about me? I feel like anything I can think of that's like a disappointment, and I mean, I'm probably forgetting some stuff.
I know I did.
But anything that I can think of off the top of my head, it's like they're disappointments, but they're still movies I enjoyed. It's just that maybe my expectations were so high. I think they could have been so much better, and they weren't. Like Wonder Woman 84 comes to mind.
That's the other one I just thought of. I was looking.
I remember walking out of the theater and being like, I enjoyed that movie. And it's one of those movies too that in hindsight, the more I thought about it, and maybe I will admit, maybe the fault here is that I was taking in too much negativity and it was affecting my opinion. I don't know, but it is a movie that as I thought about it and kind of analyzed it more in my head, I was like, well, yeah, I enjoyed it, but this is problematic and that's problematic. And in the end, I mean, even though I enjoyed it when I walked out of the theater, I still feel like that could have been better. I mean, the first movie I think is great.
Yeah.
And it would have been nice to have had a sequel that was just as good, if not better, than the first film. And I don't think that's the case, even though, again, I still enjoy the movie overall. And I'm looking forward to more Wonder Woman. Yeah. Another movie that comes to mind, I want to be very clear. I enjoyed the movie overall, but Shang-Chi, like,
Yeah.
There's things about that movie. Again, I feel like Marvel getting in its own way and just almost being a little too Marvel. It's the stuff about the MCU now that is starting to bug me about their universe, that it's being, this need to tie into everything, the casting of having certain characters in that movie and the humor in that movie that just didn't work for me. But overall, it was a very good film. And it's on my disappointed list because I think it could have been fantastic if a lot of that stuff wasn't in it,
I fully agree with you on both those for sure.
And yeah, I don't know. There's others I feel like I'm just not thinking of right now. Maybe by the end of the episode, they'll come to me, like movies I really just did not like, that I was hoping to like, but nothing is coming to mind, I guess.
It's funny you're saying that. So I've been kind of like just perusing like other people's like disappointment lists.
Right.
And there's one film, and I have not seen it, and I'd really like to see it. And it keeps popping up on these disappointment lists, and it's House of Gucci. And I've actually really been curious to watch that one because I've enjoyed what Lady Gaga has done. It's got Adam Driver in it. Like, it's got a great cast. And it seems like it's an intriguing enough story. But I've noticed, like, I've gone through like probably 7 different websites, very credible websites and movie critics, and that one has come up on like 6 out of 7 of them. And I'm like, wow, so it was a disappointment for people. And again, it's a movie I wanted to see and just didn't get the opportunity to see in the amount of time. And I still do want to see it because I'd like to judge for myself. Like, is it kind of or is it kind of like, oh, actually, I kind of like that. I don't know. I guess I'll just have to see.
I mean, speaking of that, I've done the same. I've looked at some other lists just to kind of, jar my memory.
Yeah.
And then it's funny. There's movies that though, like I've seen on a few lists and I'm like, I really enjoyed Cruella. Like,
I did
seems
too.
like a common, like most disappointed movie. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what people expected out of that movie or what they wanted, but I liked it. So
yeah, I wonder if they were expecting more of like a Maleficent level. But I think for me, I didn't. And I know you haven't seen Maleficent.
No,
I haven't.
haven't.
I actually like Maleficent, although I have not seen the sequel. It's 2 different villains. It's 2 different timelines. It's 2 different kind of like ideas, basically. And then also like one was released for theaters, and then one was basically specifically made for Disney Plus, which was Cruella. And I enjoyed Cruella. I thought it was actually really kind of a nice story as a whole. Like, I enjoyed the way it all slowly unravels in the whole process of the film.
Right.
I think maybe like the first part of the movie, I was kind of like, whoa, that's intense for kind of a quote unquote kids movie. But otherwise, I enjoyed Cruella. So yeah, I was kind of surprised to see it popped up on a few lists too. And I was kind of like, what were your expectations on this one?
No, I don't know. Anything else about 2021 that we haven't like talked about? Anything that comes to mind? I mean, I say this and I'm asking, and I will say, I was going to mention this last week. We counted down our top 10 films, and I'm happy with my top picks and I'm happy with my top 10. But yet I still feel like if there was one thing I watched this year that I wish I could have put on my list that I wasn't able to put on my list, is Midnight Mass. Like,
the show for Netflix.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously I can't. Film. It's a show. It's not a film. And I will sing that show's praises. Like, I really enjoyed that show. And I couldn't wait to watch the next episode after episode. I mean, I'm saying that in the first episode or 2, I was like, okay, I'm interested, but I'm not sure where this is going. But then like by the 3rd episode, I was all in. And in the end, I loved that show. Like, I wish I could have put that on my list.
There was
not a film.
There was some standout television in 2021, and I have to agree. Midnight Mass was definitely one of the apex points of it, and it's a shame because I feel like unfortunately it came out at the exact same time that
Squid Game
dropped, and I feel like it got thrown on not just the back burner, but like the back burner, and it stinks because it was really good, and I really encourage people to seek out Midnight Mass and watch it because it's done very well. And there's other shows that were out, in 2021 that were really excellent that we can't. It's hard, it's like I wish I could put them on my top list, but they're technically shows, and we focus on movies, on film. But yeah, no, there was other good stuff that happened for sure. There's other films that I wanted to see that I just didn't get the time and the opportunity to watch them. It's
Maybe in 2022 we should do 2 shows: the top 10 films and the top 10 shows.
television,
top 10
television.
shows / miniseries.
Mm-hmm. There was another it was on HBO, and now I can't think of the title of it. And it had Oscar Isaacs and Jessica Chastain, and it was about the married couple.
Marriage,
yeah, it was like
or something
about marriage. Yeah,
I
know
can't
what you're
remember
talking
it now.
about,
Well, it's a remake from a film, and that was excellent.
Scenes from a Marriage.
Scenes from a Marriage. There we are. I can't believe I totally blanked on that. It's on HBO, HBO Max, and yeah, it's really good. The writing is really good. The acting is stellar, not surprising, with Oscar Isaac and Jessica Chastain. It's very good. And I think it portrays this relationship these two people have in a really, it's very realistic, and it's just done really well. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's like a cheerful thing to watch, but it's a really good like drama show. It was really, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It and Midnight Mass are probably my 2 standout shows, I would say, from the year.
Bobby, do you have anything?
Shows?
Or just anything else with 2021? At one point, it looked like you were about to say something, and I think we cut you off.
Oh no, I think when it was when you were talking about if we did 10 for movies, 10 for shows, and I think when we were doing our list, I was thinking about shows and whatnot, and maybe thinking something along those lines. But then I kind of pretty quickly dismissed the idea too, because then I was like, well, you guys don't watch a lot of shows because you don't usually have enough time. And if you do, you're watching movies because that's what we normally cover. So I think I actually had thought about that at one point, and I was just, no, but I don't think they get to watch enough shows to be able to build out a 10, maybe a 5, but
10,
and
we can do that.
Yeah.
Just, I just thought off the top of my head, but
yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
There were shows that I definitely wanted to watch last year for certain.
Oh, for sure.
Like Only Murders in the Building. I wanted to see.
Yeah, I still plan on watching it, just haven't yet.
The Shrink Next Door pops into mind. I'm looking real quick.
Is that the Paul Rudd one?
Yeah.
And Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to see that one. There's a couple other ones. Like there's definitely good TV that's out there. And I say that, I don't think it's really necessarily good TV on the traditional like networks of ABC and NBC and CBS, Fox. I think it's all streaming is what I've noticed. Everything is on cable networks, streaming networks. It's content created specifically for Apple. Ted Lasso, there's great show, fabulous show. Love Ted Lasso. I think the second season was really good. I don't think it was quite as good as the first season, but I still thoroughly enjoyed that. That is very good TV right there, and I think it's out there. You just have to kind of look for it now.
Right.
Yeah. My thing is I try to keep up with a lot of the shows that are in the zeitgeist, the ones that people seem to be talking about, the water cooler shows that we used to have back in the day. And because there are so many streaming services, it's almost impossible to keep up with the amount of ones that people are talking about, because there seems to be a gluttony of it at this point. Right now I'm trying to finish up Yellow Jackets. That's one that kind of came up late towards the end of last year. People been talking about. And then I started Station 11. I haven't gotten too far into that one. Arcane was another one I've started and gotten halfway through. Witcher, I finished that, which was enjoyable. I always like seeing that. I think the one, there might be another one, honestly, but the only one I can think of actual broadcast network TV show that I watched all of last year, I think, is Superman and Lois. I can't think of anything else. And I love that show. And then second season just started the other last week, and
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
it came back just as good. And I'm just really so happy with that show that it exists. And so I think just the idea of being able to keep up with some of these things are pretty difficult in and of itself.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think does help to varying degrees is short episode counts, and
Mhm.
then the ability to, for me at least, to be able to get a weekly schedule going, because I can squeeze them in either when they actually come on, or at some point in time, like watch a little bit here and there and kind of get it in before the next week's episode. It's a little bit harder is when the shows are buzzworthy and they drop all at once, because then it's like, oh, well, how am I going to get to the end of this thing before someone spoils whatever the thing is? And so that makes it a little bit harder. But if there's one that's really on the lips of everyone, I will try and make an effort to binge something. But I haven't binged much, honestly. I think Witcher was probably the one and only show I think I really did binge this entire last year of 2021. Everything else has been pretty much coming out on a weekly schedule, so I didn't have to worry
Yeah.
about the binge aspect of anything.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about like the Disney Plus Marvel shows. Like, you know, I
Yeah.
think about Loki came out. Like, there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier came out this year, and Loki and
WandaVision.
Hawkeye. I think technically that was 2020, right? No, that was 2021.
I think I just saw a lot
It
of
was just
people
the
on
first
Twitter
1 year.
saying
Yeah, it was the 1 year
it's been a 1
anniversary.
year
So yeah, I mean,
anniversary
like
of WandaVision.
just
So,
in 2021 alone, Disney Plus, like, not and Marvel knocked it out the park. I mean, they exploded basically.
Right.
yeah.
You know, it's yeah. I mean, 2021, I think, as film goes, is kind of a mixed bag, but I think as TV goes, it was pretty solid.
Well,
Mm,
I mean,
Well,
anything else with 2021 you guys wanted to touch on, or
yeah, I did want to ask you guys a question just because
Yeah.
of how we did our top 10 and whatnot. And in between the time of, really, it's just been a week, but did you watch anything else that you didn't have a chance to watch in that week before today, or no?
No, I
Didn't have
took a week
chance
off.
to?
Took a week
We
off.
kind of
Yeah.
took a week off
Yeah.
after binging for about 12 days straight of
Yeah,
film,
no,
just
I mean-
film. I think, like,
I
yeah.
really wanted to, because there was plans. Even though I've heard mixed things, I had plans to see Licorice Pizza before we
yeah.
did the top 10, and those plans fell through on the night it was going to happen.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that was a movie that I did toy with. I was like, man, is there a way I could fit this in like that week right after we did it? And no, not yet, but I still want to see it.
Mhm.
There's other movies, of course. And I mean, yeah, like Tragedy of Macbeth
Yep.
is now on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to try to fit that in. That was playing at one local theater. And I was going to try to fit that in before the top 10 and wasn't able to do it. So now that's on Apple TV. I really want to watch that, but haven't yet. But basically, to answer your question, no, I haven't watched anything since.
Yeah, no.
That would like affect my top 10 or anything.
Right.
I think, our personal lives we kind of relaxed, and we did some other things in our personal lives this week, so we didn't get to really kind of do any of that. But what's interesting is how many of the films that, like, I think were on like David's list, my list, and a little bit on your list, that we had to rent to watch, and then literally since our top 10 show to now, a few of them are just available on streaming services now
That's what
Yeah.
happens.
in the matter of a week.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
noticed
oh,
that
they're
It's all
too.
about timing.
They're all just available now. They're all just, you can just go to your streaming service,
Yeah.
just watch them now for free, for free, not free, but like it's already
Yeah.
included. It's already,
I will say, at least I think I only paid $20 to rent one movie.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
paid-
the
I
one
paid-
film that's not streaming anywhere.
I paid $20 to rent that one. But
It
other
was
than
$20
that,
well worth it.
At least all the others were like cheaper rentals.
It was well worth the $20 rental.
Yeah.
That film was
Yeah.
hands down worth every penny.
I haven't
should
been
rent
able
it
to bring
again. We should
myself
rent
to
it
do
again.
that yet.
You haven't rented like a $20?
I can't.
Is it too expensive?
Yeah,
I mean, think
it
about it as
is.
a movie ticket.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not cheap. I mean, I'm not saying it is cheap. Like,
Right.
I don't want to come across the wrong
Right.
way, but you know, I guess in regards to, there's been movies that normally I would have been like, I'm going to go see it in the theater, and with the pandemic, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to go to a theater to see this. I don't need to go to a theater to see this movie or that movie. Unlike, you know, some of the bigger like tentpole like comic book films that I'm like, man, I want to see this on the
Yeah.
big screen. But for some of those movies, it's like, I want to see it, you know, I'll pay the $20 to watch it at home. But yeah, I'm not saying it's cheap.
Well, I think you have to mentally kind of go at it as like, if two of us are watching a $20 rental, that's a $10 per person movie ticket.
Yeah.
Same
that's
difference.
True.
And you
True.
can watch
Except
it
for
a second time if you wanted to.
except
could.
for
In 48
it's not
hours,
like you watched the movie and Michelle broke out her pocketbook and was like, "Here you go,
There
David.
you go.
Here's
$10.
and splitting that to a whole 20."
No, that's totally what happens.
Yeah.
So
I like
think
I like Apple Pay him money. I Venmo it money. I'm like, here you go.
I think with me, it's like, and David, you say, you know, that's a movie ticket price, and I suppose, you know, in some areas it might be pretty around that price, but I
Yeah.
think for myself, the only time I've really paid about $20 for a ticket is if I've gone to an IMAX screen movie, and I'm talking about the real true IMAX
Yeah.
screen movie, and that's been about 17, 18 bucks. And any other movie I've seen before having A-list, usually I was seeing in the mornings or matinee time, so it's been like 10, 12 bucks for a movie. And so I think that's where I still have in my head that if I was to watch something at home, outside of it being like $5.99 rental, $5.99, $6.99 rental, that I would probably pay at most about $15 for it. There's something about that $20 price point for me that's just
Like a little too
Yeah.
much.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think I wish I had kept track of how many movies I've paid $20 to rent. I don't think it's been very many.
No.
Mhm.
But I also, I guess, look at it as like, you know, the convenience charge of being able to just watch it in the comfort of my own home. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm not saying I normally ever paid $20 for a solo ticket for a movie theater. In fact, I don't know that I ever have. Like,
Maybe for an IMAX.
maybe.
Yeah, it's
Like,
probably
but
like
in
19 officially.
Florida theater prices
Right.
compared to California, it's a little cheaper. And like, I've never paid that much, I don't think. But yeah, to me, it's like, yeah, because I have a list just like you do. You know, at this point, almost all the time, if I'm seeing a movie, with the exception of going to like the local art house cinema, I am just going to movies as part of my subscription.
Yeah.
So any extra cost is extra. So
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
you know, again, it's like, if it's a movie that I'm like, man, I really want to watch, and it's the convenience of not having to go to a movie theater with a bunch of people that might be sick, and it's not a movie that, you know, like I have to see on a big screen, I guess the few times I've done it, it's been worth it. But I also understand the hesitation. It's not cheap. I mean, it's funny when we say that though, and we think back to like the original idea of doing this, and I think it was like Tower Heist, and they were like 40. It was gonna be like a $40 rental, like back when theaters freaked out over that.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Well, I mean, like, I think about like what a Dolby digital screening would be, and that's a $17, almost $18 ticket. And that's how I validate having the A-list with AMC. I'm like, if we go see two films in Dolby Digital, it is well paid for itself.
Definitely.
In a month's time, you know? And so, yeah, like when I think about going to see a movie, I would just pay to go see a movie in Dolby Digital. That's 17, 18 bucks. Or I could rent it at home for $20 and not get Omicron.
Yeah.
Or whatever variant is next.
Or whatever fun new variant is. Delta Girl.
And you'll be able to see Turning Red on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Not
Out of
even having to pay
curiosity-
$30 for
No.
it, which is
Out
just
of-
so odd. You would think they'd at least do the premium thing on
know.
it. And
So here's a question. So what are your guys' thoughts on, I feel like Disney is putting the Pixar films just straight on Disney Plus. Like what's your opinions on that? I find it interesting that that's what they've done the last 2 years. Whereas other Disney films have gone to theaters.
I find it peculiar, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just because it's been strictly Pixar. It's not like it's been some Pixar and some Disney. It's all Pixar.
Right.
And
Because the
and
other
it's-
Disney films have gone to theater.
Yeah. And if I'm remembering correctly, none of those Pixar movies were on premium. They just went straight to Disney
Yeah,
Plus.
no, none of them have been.
Yeah. It's just a part of
Because
your
we've had movies go to Disney Plus, as we know, that were like that extra costs. I
Right.
forget what they call Premier Access or something.
Yeah.
right.
Like Mulan did that, and
Yeah.
Right.
Cruella did that for a little bit, didn't it? Yeah,
I think Cruella did do that
yeah,
for the first
Cruella
2
did do
weeks.
that. Among I think a
Yeah.
couple. There's Black Widow, right? Like,
Yep.
um,
Yeah.
but
But the Pixar ones, you just watch on your membership. So it's an interesting thing, I think. That's
It
all I'm
is
saying.
interesting
It's
because
just
I feel
intriguing.
like, I mean, a lot of people who are looking at the picture are noticing the commonality between those movies, and they're all like persons of color, those characters that are being pretty much just sent right to Disney Plus without a chance of even having a sort of a one of those dual releases where it's on Disney
Right.
Plus and where you have like the premiere access and the movie theater. It's not like one of those. It's just straight to Disney Plus. So my thought is that I feel like I would be really curious to see if we were in a situation to where things were shutting down again. Would they move Lightyear, or would they make it premium plus on Disney Plus? Or would they
Dude.
just put it straight to Disney Plus? Like, which of those three scenarios would they do?
I would be
My
shocked
hunch-
if it was
Dude.
a straight to Disney Plus without.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I enjoyed Luca, and I was really kind of sad for Luca that it went straight to that. And now Turning Red is going straight to the streaming service.
And
I'm kind of
Soul
like,
went
and
straight.
Soul went straight to
Yeah.
the streaming service. Soul was
Yeah.
still kind of in the more peak-ish level, I would say. of
It was
COVID.
earlier in the pandemic for sure.
So I kind of will give him a little bit of a pass on that one, but I will say like Luca,
Again, you would think a Premier Access like
Right.
level for that. You would think,
because
but anyway,
Soul was really good too,
Mhm.
and I really liked Luca a lot. It's definitely my honorable mentions. Like I really enjoyed the story that Luca told, and then now Turning Red, I'm like, huh. But let me tell you, if Lightyear, 'cause, I mean, like I don't, like, I can't. I love the entertainment situation that David has set up in his home with his TV and the speakers. Like it is a really great home theater environment. However, that film looks spectacular. And if I cannot sit in a Dolby Digital and have my chair vibrate while Buzz Lightyear is getting rocketed into outer space, I'm going to lose my mind. Like that is highway robbery, my friends, of my emotional soul. Like I need to have that. And it bums me out to think that it could be I don't think they're going to, because I don't think Disney's that stupid, but they've been doing some weird stuff. I don't think they're that crazy, but they could be. At this point, I feel like that's a possibility. So I guess time will have to tell.
if I had to place a bet, I would imagine if need be that's going to be the Pixar movie they push back.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it would not.
push it.
It would
Yeah.
not go to Disney Plus in any way, shape, or form. It's gonna
No.
just.
If it gets pushed back, that's fine. Because I've got to experience that one in the theater. I've got to. Come on.
Which just makes you wonder why that one gets to get pushed and
Why,
these
yeah.
others don't get pushed. And it's like you could say, well, that's a proven IP, and
Mhm.
so of course it's going to make money. But I don't know if you look at the history of Pixar movies, how many of them don't make money. So
Right.
Right.
it's not like you
Right,
could use
right.
that as a full
That's
argument because
why
they
from the
typically make money.
beginning, when Soul, the first one, got released directly to Disney Plus, I think everybody was like, "Wait, what?" It's like,
Yeah,
because there was already another Disney animated film around that time, right? Like
there
that
was.
didn't. I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was
Oh
now,
my god,
but anyway,
but I mean,
yeah,
if you
the
look,
whole Pixar thing has been quite odd, and we
it
keep
is
seeing
odd.
these reports that artists at Pixar are kind of like, "What in the hell?" I don't know how true
Yeah,
Right.
those reports are, but it makes sense. I
it
would
does.
think they would all be like, what the f is happening?"
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Lightyear, in 2022, what if we shifted to what we're looking forward to in the new year?
Sounds great. What a great
What a great
transition.
transition.
Yeah. Good job.
What are we
Kudos.
looking forward to in
Oh, I'm
2022?
I'm looking to forward to a decent amount. I'm sure Bobby's list is probably still as long as yours and mine combined.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's
It's
not.
not. No,
Is
No.
it
and
short?
it's very short, and it's only
Really?
oh yeah, it's super short. It's and that's only
Right.
only because we don't want to sit here for 2 hours on the show. That's the
This
only
is a
reason why
weekend.
it's short, because
It is a
most
school
definitely there's a
name.
ton of movies that I would be looking forward to. So I just condensed it down to 5, really.
What you got?
I So last year I did something similar to where I really said one of the things, I just combined it into one because it's just not fair for me to just sit here and name them all. But that's pretty much all comic book movies I just put into one because I'm always going to be looking forward to the comic book
I'm
movies,
with
and
you.
there's a lot of them coming out next year. So I really just didn't want to just name 20 comic book movies or however many are coming out next year because there's a lot.
Right.
So
And
just all
so
the
I
comic
yeah,
movies,
all the
all of
comic
them,
book
all of
movies for
them.
sure. But I did want to at least highlight one of those comic book movies that's sort of slightly above the crowd in terms of how much I'm looking to see it. And there's so many good ones. There's so many good ones. But the one I'm really most fascinated and curious to see, and Michelle's got her head turned up because she's waiting to hear my
I think
answer.
it's one of two.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll tell me if you were right on one of them. It's Black Panther 2.
Okay,
And
yes.
it's because without Chadwick Boseman, I do not know what they're doing with this movie. And it could go in so many different ways. And there's rumors of who might be appearing in the movie and how you have those characters in that movie without a Black Panther being played by, well, not being played by Chadwick Boseman, but having the character of T'Challa with those other characters that might be rumored to show up just seems so odd. And I just do not know, and I do not envy what Ryan Coogler and everyone else who has to do this movie are going to do with it. And I'm hopeful that it can be something really special and great. But man, do they have a huge mountain to climb. So that's kind of the one I'm just most honestly curious about, just because I have no idea how that's going to end up working.
Do you think that film's still going to get released in 2022, or do you think it's going to get pushed? I'm asking only because there's been so many delays with
I
it.
would say it only gets pushed if there's something with the pandemic, because
Yeah.
it seems to be Letitia Wright is showed back up, and they started resuming the last bit of filming. I think they said they had 4 weeks, maybe 8 at most, to finish up. And so they did say in the article, I think I saw on either Hollywood Reporter, I believe, or Variety, and they said that according to sources, they are still on track to release on time for their scheduled release date for this year. So unless there's something with another variant or something of that nature, it seems like they should still be okay to release this year. So I'll be very curious. And one of the things that they did mention in that article, and I do believe it was Hollywood Reporter, said that Winston Duke negotiated a pretty big, hefty raise because
Oh,
apparently his character will be expanded in this movie and going forward in the MCU. So
nice. Good for
don't know what
him.
that means exactly, but
Nice.
who knows? He could be taking over that mantle. We don't know, but either way, it's good to see some more M'Baku, and I'll be
Heck yeah.
curious to see where that goes. But yeah, seems like it'll be on time.
All right. So all the comic book
All comic
films
book
are on your
movies,
list.
yeah. Um, I'm looking at this and it's just sequel after sequel, but that's kind of what you get when you kind of know like you've got some big, pretty big IP stuff coming. And another one on that list, um, which I expect and really got my fingers crossed. This will make my biggest disappointment list of next year if it turns out not to be good. Even though I say that, not having liked the previous movie that just came out a couple years ago, and the movie I'm referring to is Jurassic World Dominion, and I'm
Oh.
anticipating this heavily because one, for the story element of having dinosaurs just on the loose anywhere and everywhere, and to see how that happens and works out as a film seems to be just an interesting story. But what puts that factor above and beyond in terms of anticipation level is knowing that you have the original cast back and going to be in this with got your Laura Dern, Jeffrey Goldblum, um, who am I forgetting?
Neil.
Yeah. Uh, oh, can't think of his name all of a sudden.
No, I just want to play too.
Yeah, Sam O'Neill.
Sam O'Neill.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see those original characters back in this scenario, and I just really am hoping that that's one of those ones where they can recapture the magic and Trevor what's his name? Trevor the director. I keep wanting to say Trevor Colin, but it's
Oh,
I can't
Colin
think of his name.
Trevorrow.
There we go. Thank you. Him being back makes me hopeful because he directed the
Sure.
first Jurassic World, right? But not the second one. And so I'm thinking, and I like the first Jurassic World, so I'm hoping that this is a return to form, and he sticks the landing. And a lot of people who didn't get a chance to see the movie that he was going to make for Star Wars to finish off the series have read the script that's out there floating online, and they seem to really like the ideas that he was going to do with that third movie. So I'm hoping that he puts something together in this way that really kind of shines and highlights the original cast along with the ones that we have in this one, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt, and really sort of brings it home. So that's my second one. My third one, uh, this series is just, I just look at it for the spectacle. I don't even care what kind of the story is going on. I just want to see if this is the movie that Tom Cruise dies. And it's the latest Mission Impossible film.
Yeah.
He just the way he's able to top himself each movie with whatever stunt he's doing is just incredible, and knowing that he's doing it. So I really want to see that, and it's it's one of those things. I feel like it's a reason to go to the movies and to also just see films still done. And obviously there's CGI and stuff, but to see performative stunts on the scale that he does them
Yeah.
on is just something fantastic, and you don't get a lot of more these days. So I really want to be able to see that and witness it in the theater and on an IMAX screen, hopefully, and be able to really delve into it, because Tom is one of the last few people I think that really cares as an actor about the process of movie making and being able to put on something that's really special for people. And I'm still mad that I haven't seen Top Gun at this point. And I really hope it does not get pushed again, because I'll just be
I
like,
was gonna say,
tired.
so Top Gun Maverick is supposed to be this summer, and then it
Yeah,
sounds like Mission Impossible is September, October,
October-ish or somewhere around there. Yeah, I forget. I
right?
can't. I
The next
think
Mission Impossible.
so.
So it's like, two big cruise films,
Yeah,
in the second half of the year.
yeah,
Could be really good.
yeah. So that's third. Fourth is a movie that's actually original, but it's one of those movies where it's a pairing of people that have done movies before, and that's Killers of the Flower Moon with Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Mm.
And at this point, I'll watch anything Leo does, and especially if you got Martin directing him. So I just on those two names alone want to see that movie, and it's the only
Yeah.
original movie that made this small list of five.
Yeah.
So that's four. And the fifth one, laugh, mock me, do whatever you feel you need to, but I am a believer, and I really cannot wait. If Yasha was here, he would laugh, but I really cannot wait to see Avatar 2. I am one of the few people to this day that still likes the original Avatar movie, even though people mock it and look down on it.
You'll have to tell me about it someday.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I just think that James Cameron, I really cannot point to a movie of his that I didn't at least like, and I can't remember the last movie that he did that just wasn't pushing some sort of boundary in some way or form. And he loves to test those boundaries and see and invent and create new things. And that's another thing about being special about going to the movies. When you see a James Cameron film, he's doing something. He's making some sort of visual type of movie that is just gonna go to your senses in a way that he hopes that no one else has done. And seeing whatever he's going to do with water effects, and he loves water stuff. So I really want to see how he does that and pulls this off in this movie to a way that I'm really, really looking forward to it. And it's one that I just have been patiently waiting, because it's been delayed, pushed, moved so many times that it's just been so hard to just really want to grab hold of it, because it feels so slippery. So I'm just hoping that nothing moves it again, and we actually get it this year, and I can finally see it, because I really do want to see this movie. So that's my 5.
How about you, David? You've been very quiet.
I've been listening to Bobby. What else? Interrupting.
I've been interrupting and interjecting.
No, I appreciate it. So.
I mean, I'll start off since you ended with it. You will not get a laugh from me about Avatar 2. I find it hilarious how many people love to shit on that movie now. Like, considering how many people were clamoring to see that movie when it came out, how much ridiculous amount of money it made.
Yeah.
And it was such an event film.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to me that now it's turned into this like kind of joke, not a joke, but
kind of.
And I think I would actually say it's kind of sad. Like,
it is.
I think it's silly. Like that, it's easy to go, oh, that movie is just the same story we've been told a million times. I mean, yeah, like
about so many other
most
things.
You can say that about so many movies. Like, you cannot discount how great of a storyteller James Cameron is. He can take a story that we've been told a million times, and he made it extremely entertaining. Not that I am a 3D fan, but if there were a movie that I was like, man, you should have seen that in 3D, that was the one.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to pick one movie, that would have been the movie. Like, it was entertaining to see in 3 dimensions. Not to say it's bad in 2D, it's not. And not to say it's the greatest movie ever, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm with you when it comes to James Cameron. I know he's not going to put out a movie that's just another movie. It's going to be an experience. So I'm looking forward to Avatar 2. And if anything, yeah, it's a bummer. It's been taking so long, but maybe that's a good sign that he's just really not, he's not taking any shortcuts on this. He's doing what he wants to do. He wants to do it right.
No corners cut.
Exactly.
I guarantee when that trailer hits,
It's gonna
I
be
guarantee
insane.
for all these people who are trying to take shots at it, it's
And
gonna
there's
blow
so-
up some records for views
Right.
in
Yeah.
terms of when that thing comes out, for sure.
But no, I'm with you. Avatar 2, that's supposed to come out. It's supposed to come out in December. And we could say that about every movie this year. It's supposed to come out in 2022.
Oh, totally.
You know?
Like,
Right.
there's no guarantees on any of these.
Um,
Like,
You know,
maybe in the next month. Yeah,
a movie
but-
that's coming out sooner that we hope to come out when it hope is coming out when it's supposed to, and there's going to be no shock. It's on my list is the Batman.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean-
and I'm with you, Bobby, when it comes to, I mean, every comic book film that's coming out this year, like I'm looking forward to. But of course, I'm a Batman fan and I'm a DC fan, and I can't wait to see the Batman.
Yeah.
But Doctor Strange, Thor: Love and Thunder,
Mhm.
the
Flashpoint.
next Spider-Verse film.
Spider-Verse.
um, Now, the Flash is interesting though. It's like,
Because you don't know if it's happening.
oh no, I mean that's the Flash. It's like I want to be excited, but there's a part of me that is really worried about that movie. Like,
You think?
like, and that's a bummer. Like, I really do hope it's going to be good. And if I had to bet, I think it's going to be a solid film.
Yeah.
But it's for some reason there's a part of me that's just I'm scared that
Well,
it's
really?
Well, it's like if I look at like what I see from Black Adam, which is also supposed to come out this year.
Yeah.
I look at
Shazam
Black
2.
Adam and I go, this should be good. Shazam 2 should be good.
Mhm.
Aquaman 2, well, I hated the first one. Probably gonna do spectacular things. The Flash film is kind of an enigma.
I know,
it
and I
just-
actually
don't-
can't explain why I
quite-
feel that way about it. Like,
No, it's because it's had so many issues. It's been years of
I don't know, and I maybe it's the fact that it's, even though I know we've already talked about this, it's going to be different than what we just saw in the Spider-Man film, but at the same time, it's kind of a similar thing, and
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, I think that's definitely a strike
Yeah.
against it. I don't know, just there's something about it that has me worried.
I get that.
Because it should be great, and I want a really good solo Flash movie. Like,
As
I
do
l-
we all.
I like this Flash. You know, say what you will about the actor, and I have no
Mhm.
opinions on him, but
Yeah.
I like him in that role, and I don't know. I just want it to be good. I'm just worried about it.
Mhm.
You know, we already talked about Lightyear, but yeah, I mean, Lightyear looks great. Like,
Yeah.
however we end up seeing it, I think it looks solid. I'm looking forward to that. The Northman, Robert
Yes.
Eggers is definitely. I am a fan. You know, I'm a fan of The Witch, Lighthouse. That looks solid. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, that
looks
looks really
really
good.
good. Though now I'm like starting to the point. Okay, I've seen this trailer enough.
I've seen
like,
that trailer so many times.
You know, I felt like the past few films I've seen in a movie theater, it
Really?
played in front of like every one of them. I'm like,
Mm.
all right, this trailer looks awesome, but now I don't want to see it too much.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we've watched
yeah.
it like 10 times in a matter of like 2 weeks. I was like,
Wow.
okay, look, I'm good. I do want to see this. But
Yeah.
But yeah, for those that don't know, it's a Michelle Yeoh film. It looks
it looks
great.
so good.
Go see the trailer if you
Looks
haven't watched
so
it
good.
yet. Yeah, I mean that's really my list at this point. I mean, there's other movies like Mission Impossible for sure. I'm looking forward to that, and yeah, I don't know. I think that kind of does it for me.
I think it's funny. It is literally funny. I'm laughing about it because it's like I think there's so many people out there that would absolutely probably put Top Gun on their list of things that they're looking forward to seeing. But you guys don't have to worry about putting it on their list of things.
No, we don't.
Well, you don't
no,
have to talk about it.
I have
You
no
know,
comments
you can
on Top
say
Gun Maverick.
anything. There's no comments made, but I just find that funny.
Yeah, it's true.
Everybody else sitting
It's-
here waiting
it's-
in suspense to see what's
it's-
going to happen in this
It's
dang
not
movie.
on my. It's not on my most anticipated to see film.
Put it that way.
We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
No, he's right. It's not
To
like we have to
watch.
talk about it. But
Right.
Yeah.
Michelle,
I'm not dissing on it either.
Michelle.
No,
yeah,
no,
what,
no.
What are you looking forward to this year?
So, for me this year, and it's coming out soon, I am actually looking forward to seeing Death on the Nile. And I know there's a lot of controversy between two of the actors that are in this film. This film has been shot for quite some time, and they've been holding it back. I'm excited because I actually did enjoy Death on the Orient Express. I really enjoy Agatha Christie books. Death on the Nile is probably my favorite one, actually. So for me, like, I just as a storyline goes, like, I'm really looking forward to seeing another envisioning of this story. I really like it. So I'm looking forward to that on a personal note. It's very my thing. Yeah, I mean, I know
I like
there's
mystery movies, and I didn't have it on my list, but Knives Out 2 is another one I'll probably be really looking forward to seeing, just because I do love a good mystery movie, and if they can stick that landing, it's always that much more satisfying. But
I'm really looking forward to seeing the Batman. And I have been for quite some time. So I'm trying not to get too excited about it, but I'm really looking forward to seeing that movie. And then like you guys, like, honestly, like, it's really all the comic films. Like, I'm really looking forward to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Like, I'm geeking out my excitement for that film, and I'm trying to quell my level of excitement a little bit in anticipation, but I'm really, 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 really looking forward to that one. I'm with David. The Norseman looks fantastic. I feel like, is it Robert Eggers?
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm kind of hit and miss with his films. There's films of his that I've really enjoyed, and films of his that I've been kind of like, they're okay. But that one, there's something about it. Like, it looks fabulous. I think it looks great. Lightyear looks really, really good. I'm just gonna go on this little list I have here. Let's see. I do want to see Turning Red. What else? Top Gun Maverick.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to Bob's Burgers movie. That looks good too.
Well, so it's funny.
I didn't know you watched that show.
I love that show.
So David's watched that show, and but not that he's watched like all of the show, but he's watched. That show.
I haven't watched like every episode, but
we recently started watching it kind of together. And I'm really enjoying Bob's Burgers, and I'm really sad that I'm so late to the Bob's Burger Enjoyment fan club, because I'm really enjoying it, and I am looking forward to that movie. But yeah, like, as far as comic films, of course, I'm really looking forward to Thor: Love and Thunder. And I am really curious to see Black Adam. I think that one could be really, really good too. Yeah. And I know David's not the biggest fan of these movies, but the Fantastic Beasts movies, I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. I'm not saying I'm like, oh my gosh, I love them, they're the best. I think they have their issues. But as a whole, I'd like to see where the story is going. Like, I'm intrigued enough to know what's happening with that one.
I mean, I'm with you. It's like, a part of me would love to say, oh, I'm not even gonna go see it, but I mean, I'm a Harry Potter fan. I'm curious. I'm going to go see this film, but I'm probably gonna do it, and then I'm probably gonna walk out going, God damn it, I shouldn't have watched that.
I know, you probably are.
I hope I don't. I hope I walk out going, okay, finally, that was much better.
I hope you don't too, because we're Potterheads.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes. And then, of course, Spider-Man Spider-Verse Part 1. Across the Spider-Verse, looks spectacular. Obviously, no surprises there. Aquaman 2 is not actually on my list because I'm not.
I was gonna say, I thought it was. Wow.
No.
I don't know. I think this year's kind of interesting. I feel like there's some heavy hitters, but then I feel like I haven't heard a lot of like independent, I don't want to say independent films. I think more original stories. I don't think are really. I think they're really holding they're keeping their cards close to their chest. They're not putting it all out there, and so I feel like I don't have a lot of more original films that I'm looking forward to seeing, because I feel like they haven't really announced that many of them. It just seems to be a lot of like what we already kind of know and we already think are going to be really, really big.
I think the problem with films
So-
like that, I mean, they kind of come out of the woodwork in a way. Like, it's not like
Right.
a lot of the films you might be seeing on top 10 lists by the end of the year are not movies that were really on our radar right now. So
Right. Well, I mean, like the Norseman's kind of an original film. So, but and it looks really good. Yeah, I mean, I hate to just be like the comic films, but yeah, a lot of the comic films, because they've been announced, they
we're
have
fans.
dates, and we're fans.
we
and,
are fans.
and
Mhm.
you were in the Eternal shirt.
I
Yeah,
started watching that again too.
Oh yeah, Eternals is out on Disney Plus.
I almost put it on today at one point, but
Oh, did you?
yeah.
It's enjoyable. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I had a friend tell me, "Oh, I watched 15 minutes of it and I turned it off. I couldn't get."
Oh, they didn't even give it a shot.
And then another friend told me,
Ugh.
"Oh yeah, I watched it. It wasn't that great." And I was like, "Man,"
Ugh.
and I'm like, "Oh, I mean, to each their own." But that made my top 10 list.
Probably-
So I really enjoyed it.
It was
probably
definitely
diehard Boba Fett fans.
It was definitely my notable
No.
mentions for sure. Oh, Boba Fett.
Oh.
Okay, so are we going
Nah,
there?
sorry.
Are we
I don't mean to
going there?
change-
Right
we're
now?
not changing the subject.
we
We're
going
about to
there?
run it. We're basically running out of time, so I mean,
Yeah.
we can't go too deep into that.
No, I think as a whole, like, I have my concerns for next year. Like I said, Aquaman 2. I'm sure people are gonna love Aquaman 2, and maybe Aquaman 2 will turn me around. I don't think that's gonna happen, but maybe it could happen. We'll have to see. I don't know. I'm curious, real quick, before we jump topics. David,
Yes, here.
Hocus Pocus 2.
Yes.
We have not discussed what your thoughts are on a sequel to a film that I know that you love and hold beholden to for the Halloween season. My
This is
question,
true.
it is beholden to him. He loves this film, and I do too. I'm not saying I don't. I'm curious as to what your take is on a sequel of this film.
I imagine. I mean, hey, I get it. Hocus Pocus is fun, and it's become a kind of a. It's I don't want to say cult like classic now because it's a Disney film, but it seems like one of those movies that now over the years has just gathered this huge like Halloween like following, and I'm part of that. I think it's a fun movie that kind of puts you in the mood of the Halloween season, and so I get why they're making a sequel. I think it makes sense that it's going to be a Disney Plus film. It's not going to theaters.
Right.
I don't have high hopes. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this is going to be great. I love Hocus Pocus. Like, to me, Hocus Pocus is a one and kind of done film. And do we need a sequel? No, but I'm also not hating on the idea of it. Like, I think it could be fun, but I'm not holding out hope that it's going to be like amazing.
Right.
I think it'll be a fun movie to see, and that's it. I don't know how else to put my opinions on
I
it.
was just kind of curious, a quick take, what you thought. So,
Yeah.
All right. So now, are we going to talk about Boba Fett? Or are we going to close the show out?
I mean, yeah, we're out of time. We can touch on that real quick. I wanted to, mention Peacemaker. Peacemaker came out.
That's right.
Sadly, I and you, Michelle, have only seen the first episode. It was a busy weekend. I went out of town for a little bit this weekend, and I only got to watch the first one. I will say really quick, I really enjoyed it. Sorry, comment from Carlton threw me off.
Bobby's probably seen all three, right? Peacemaker.
Yeah, you've seen all three, right?
I have seen all three. What I'll say about Peacemaker
I'm sorry.
is for me, it's interesting in that I feel like this is the first DC product that they've done that's pulling from their current batch of releases. Like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I know they have gosh, like Titans, but that was created specifically for HBO Max, and it was just, or not actually, it was
it
back
was
then
for
when
the
it was
DC
DC.
universe.
Oh, DC universe, yeah.
And then they also have Doom Patrol, and those series are series first in the sense that that's where the world that they came from and what they were intended for. I'm pretty sure in saying that Peacemaker is the first thing to come from a spinoff of the movie world. And it does such a good job of retaining that feel. And obviously it should, because it's James Gunn. He did the movie, so he's also doing the series. But what I'll say about it is, although every joke doesn't hit for me, I'd say most of them land more so than not. What I appreciate and like about the Peacemaker series is that, to me, it's consistent in just that within 3 episodes, I feel like I understand, at least for as most as what they want us to understand, of what's going on with the show, who's the bad guy, and so on and so forth. But just knowing that so far it seems like every episode's been about 42 minutes, I feel like it's a complete thing in and of itself. I don't feel like when it's over, that I'm like, oh, I wish there was more, because not because it's like I don't want to see more of next week's episode already. It's because I feel like that is the reason why. It's because I want to see next week's episode. I want more of that, not because the length of it was short and I didn't feel like I got enough in this one episode.
Right.
It feels enough, but I want to see more. I want to see that next episode. And I feel like they got an edge on all the Disney Plus stuff that I've seen so far. In a way that, now I'm not saying that Peacemaker is better than everything that Disney Plus has put out, but just it just feels more of like a meal in a way that I feel very much like it's doing a lot in terms of giving you a full thing, as opposed to like maybe a condensed thing that the Disney Plus shows sometimes feel like. And it makes me feel like the Peacemaker show is more akin to like a Netflix Marvel show as compared to a Disney Plus show. It feels more satisfying in a way.
It is.
And so I really like it, and I find myself anticipating the episodes, and I'm so glad they dropped 3. They didn't have to. I think that easily could have been 1, maybe 2, but I'm glad they did 3, and that we still got more to come. And every Thursday I'm like anticipating and looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's just nice. It just feels like it's movie quality. It feels like it's a movie quality TV show compared to, and I'm not trying to poop on the Disney Plus Marvel shows. They're quite good, but they don't always feel like it could be straight from a film. This feels like it's a fragment of a film. Like it's great.
And I mean, again, just based on the one episode, kind of going back to what you're saying too, Bobby, it's like it feels like a show that's just doing its own thing. It doesn't feel beholden to anything. I mean, it's tied into the Suicide Squad, obviously, but you know, as much as we love all the Marvel shows we're getting and the Star Wars shows to a point, like as much as I love them, I also get frustrated by that. Like that's like this constant like connection to everything, and it feels like it almost like pulls things back.
Yeah,
like this show isn't doing that. This is just a solid show. And it's very adult for sure. Even if it is based on comic books, it's a very adult show for sure. Absolutely.
And we've only seen the first episode.
Yeah,
it is a very adult show.
This is a R-rated show for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I like that about it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying. I enjoyed that first episode. I'm looking forward to finding time this week, actually in the next few days, to watch the next 2 episodes. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I'm genuinely very excited to be like, oh, we have nothing to do. We're watching the show. Yeah. It'll be nice.
Yeah. And just one little last thing I want to say before we kind of put everything to bed, but I really feel like while I will say that with Boba Fett, I've never been the biggest Boba Fett character fan, but that being said, um, there's a lot of things within this show that I'm liking, and hopefully they expand upon and be able to make a complete series at the end of this. That's something that I'm really going to have enjoyed when I look back on it. But that being said, I feel like between what we had with now with Boba Fett and then just in general, I find myself wishing that I could have said for 2022, what I'm looking forward to is Star Wars blah movie, whatever that would be.
Yeah.
I want to see that big budget spectacle on screen again, and I feel like I'm missing that this year.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I could go on Boba Fett for a while. What are we, 3 episodes in? We'll get our 4th episode on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the two episodes in, I was kind of like, okay. I mean, it's Star Wars. I'm entertained to a point, but I'm also like not loving it. I will say I watched the 3rd episode and I actually straight up didn't enjoy the 3rd episode at all. Like it's frustrating to me. I mean, you actually, Bobby, off air, we talked, and I don't want to use your words, but you put it perfectly. Like one of the biggest problems with this show when it comes to his motivation as a character and how we've been giving almost nothing in regards to that. There's a lot of aspects of this show. I mean, the whole bikes thing is just a minor thing. I know a lot of people bitched about that in the 3rd episode, and that's whatever. But I don't know. The show's bumming me out because I really enjoy The Mandalorian. And you also said this, Bobby, it felt like The Mandalorian in a lot of ways, like kind of brought the Star Wars fandom back together, because there was a lot of problems with the fandom after that trilogy of films that Disney produced. And then now we've got Boba Fett, and it feels like the Star Wars fandom is like splitting back up again. I am right now falling on the side is I'm not a fan of the show. I really hope that changes. I'm going to keep watching it. Of course, I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm not going to give up on it, but I'm not like clamoring to see it. If anything, I'll be clamoring to watch the next episode in hope that it'll be like much better.
You're like fingers crossed.
Like I could see that I will wake up early this Wednesday and watch it going, please, please, please put me in a good mood that this is actually going to turn around. I don't have high hopes for that, but anyway. And Michelle, you haven't even watched the 3rd episode yet.
Yeah, because I'm with you guys. Like, did the last series of 3 films like really energize me in the Star Wars fandom? Not so much as a whole. And then The Mandalorian came out, and both of those seasons were so good and solid. That was excellent storytelling, and it was executed well. Like, it was really enjoyable, and I got really excited again. Like you said, like it felt like it brought the fandom together. And this is really creating a divide. And I'm not enjoying this. Like I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I just found myself going, I care because why? And it's just not gripping me in any way, shape, or form. It just doesn't feel enjoyable. And I really was looking forward to this. I'm not a lover or a hater of Boba Fett. I've been pretty like, oh, Boba Fett. He seems like a really interesting guy because he's very, quiet and like to himself, but he's very like, oh, I'll kill you in one shot kind of guy. Cool. But this is there's just nothing. I'm not feeling it. And I'm not feeling it so much that I probably could have made time in the last week to watch that 3rd episode. I'm probably sure I could have eked out an hour to watch it. And I chose not to. Like, I specifically was like, there's other things I could watch. You know, like I decided to go ahead and start Station 11, which is quite good. And yeah, like I will probably watch the 3rd episode and then roll right into the 4th episode for me, and we'll just hope and see. But my expectations of the 3rd episode are not great from what I hear. And honestly, like I feel like I could just walk away from this and be like, I'm good. It's fine.
Right.
Moving on.
Mm.
Next Star Wars project. It's fine. I don't need to know. Like I'm not engaged in it where I need to know what's going to happen. And that's sad.
Yeah.
For Star Wars.
Right.
So.
Well, with that, yeah, we are out of time at this point, unless you guys have anything else, last minute things you want to touch on before we go. I don't think so. So we are going to wrap things up. As always, we'd love to hear back from everyone listening and watching. You can email us at feedback@flickereffect.com. You can leave questions and comments wherever you are watching us. If you are watching us live or in the future on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or Twitter. And if on YouTube you're watching, make sure to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified whenever we go live in the future. We are also on Twitter and Instagram at @Flicker_effect. You can reach out to us there. With that, I'm David Lott.
Bobby Jackson.
And I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks.